BeatStars.com. 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 BeatStars.com.
40 seconds, let's go.
BeatStars.com. BeatStars.com.
All right. We are live. I apologize about the transition there. It's been about a month since I've hosted a show, I feel like. So glad to be back here. I got two incredible people with me who are both muted. So if you guys would love to unmute yourselves, that would be great. My name is Mike Trampy. I'm the BeatStars community director. Hopefully you guys have actually been on one of my shows in the past. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to learn a lot of stuff. And I'm excited to be here. I got an echo going on. Anybody else hear that?
A little bit.
Little bit. Test. Still hear myself. Not sure where it's coming from. But yeah, I'm happy to be here, man. I got two incredible producers from BeatStars. I'm going to start below me. Homage. First time I've ever actually got to see this guy, talk to this guy in person, if you want to call it that. But Homage, man, you've been a long-time member, man. Like, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. Excited to be here. Glad to finally meet you and be on the live here. Glad we got to make it work.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. Thank you again for joining us. And, you know, we got this other guy here. You might have heard of him. You might not have heard of him. He's this guy who makes beats. His name's DJ Payne One. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm just really excited to be here and to meet you for the first time, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
And to speak to your point, I actually posted a screenshot of an Instagram comment about me today that said this guy is not making money neither from placement nor selling beats. So I agree with that statement that I don't think many people know who I am.
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. You know,
I'm actually not even here right now on camera. So if anybody's seeing this, please consult a psychiatrist.
Okay. Well, welcome to the show, DJ Payne One. I know you're usually on the other side hosting, so you're actually going to be on the answering side this time, but we appreciate you, man. You know, both of you guys, I was doing a little bit of research prior to the show and just in general. You guys combined have been on the platform for 10 years. Can you believe that?
Sheesh.
10 years, man, combined. So, Payne, you've been on for 6, surprisingly. I thought it was less than that.
It feels like less because I was an idiot for like the first 3.
That is true. That's very. And we're gonna touch on that too.
Okay, then I won't say. I'll shut up now.
Yeah, that echo is killing me too. I don't know if anybody else can still hear it, but I'm gonna do my best to fight through it. If anybody realizes it's them, please turn it off. Let me make sure it's not me, right? I don't think so. But yeah, man, it's combined 10 years. I was like, wow, that's a long time. Homage, you joined, from what I gather, and correct me if I'm wrong, back in 2016, right? I think it was end of September 2016. It looks like.
Sounds about right. I'll trust your stats.
and Payne, like I said, you've been on since May 2014. But like you said, you're an idiot for the first 3 years. These were your words, by the way. The first 3 years that you were. Okay, it's a fact. So. I want to start with Homage. I kind of do all these shows the same when it's kind of getting background information and just pulling stats and looking at them and then getting feedback. So Homage, I'm going to start with you, man. Like I said, September 2016, you joined the platform, the end of September. Since then, you've uploaded 767 tracks that are actually, live and for sale on the platform. You have 1.7 million streams. You have about 39.2 thousand followers, give or take. And then I backtracked some of your stuff to YouTube, just curious to see what you did on YouTube. And lo and behold, you have 148,000 subscribers. So if anybody has seen this show before, and if you haven't, definitely go back and watch the 4 episodes prior. But what you're going to learn is that every single person on this show has something in common. And it's about the streams. It's about how many tracks they've uploaded. It's how they've utilized other platforms to drive traffic. So Homage, let's before we dive into those things specifically, let's talk about who you are as a producer, a music lover, even before you got on BeatStars. Kind of like, how'd you get your start? Do you have family members that have a musical background? Did you grow up in a musical household? Like, tell us kind of like your story.
Yeah. So, like as a kid, I was always interested in music, but like nobody in my family was really like musicians or anything. So, I played trumpet and band when I was like in middle school and all that. So I was always interested in music, but I was always way more interested in sports. So I didn't really take it seriously. And I ended up quitting the band by high school just to focus on sports. And then kind of fast forward, I ended up playing college football at a small school. And you know, throughout this time, I'd always loved hip hop. I always like felt like I had a pretty good ear for hip hop. And all my friends would get together and they would always tell me to play the beats when they were freestyling. Like, hey, you play the beats. Cause I like, you know, I always had good beat selection or whatever. And then one day I was like,
no, I was going to say I was the same guy too, man. In college,
yeah,
I was the same guy.
yeah.
Go ahead,
hey,
man.
Hey, you play those beats you found, you know. So I would always play like Alchemist beats, Dilla beats, old Pete Rock beats, you know, Primo beats and stuff like that. And that was around the time that like, I mean, I'm like 27, so that was around the time that Mac Miller was like doing his thing on with his early mixtapes, and so his Kool-Aid and Frozen Pizza beat was super popular, which is a Lord Finesse beat. Hip to the Game, and I remember that being like one of my favorite beats. And then I remember at one point I was just like listening to all these beats, and I was like, "Yo, let me try to figure out how to make these." And then that's when I started learning about sampling and how you know, how these like super soulful sounds came together. And I was always driven to like the more soulful sound, I guess. But yeah, and then from there, I just kind of like fell in love with it. Like it's a weird thing when you like hear the original record and then you hear how it was flipped. It's like this really addicting feeling. At least for me, it was. I know some people feel the same way. So I got super into like sampling, and then you know started progressing, and then kind of just stuck with it for that was in 2012. So yeah. 8 years, I guess.
What did you start with like hardware, software wise? Like, kind of, how did you like? What was the first thing you touched to start making beats?
GarageBand. First thing I could find. Yeah, and then I had like, what was the DJ? The like super entry level DJ software.
Payne, you'll know this.
Virtual DJ.
Virtual DJ.
Yeah. I remember I would loop stuff up on Virtual DJ and like beats and stuff, and then. You know, eventually I was reading online and everyone was just like, pick something, like just pick one DAW and learn it inside and out because you can do anything in every DAW. So I just picked Ableton because I think I had like the light version from a controller that I had bought or something. So I just picked it, learned how to use it. And at that time, only EDM people were using Ableton. So I guess I was kind of early in the hip hop because I remember going on YouTube and it was like, there was no hip hop tutorials in general then, but especially in Ableton, it was like, there was nothing really out there. So it was really hard to learn, especially for like a nuanced style, like somebody like Dilla, who I was trying to emulate. It was so hard to learn. Like, how does he get his drums to sound like that and stuff? Yeah. So it took a while, but it's been fun, man.
You said you're 27 right now?
Yeah, 27.
Where does your love for Pete Rock and Dilla and all that come from?
I think it's just like when I would play beats for people and they're like, what is this? You know, and it was always that, or I guess it started hearing Mac Miller rap on those beats, or like even when I was younger, like one of my favorite songs was Hate It or Love It, which is like a super soulful sample. And I just remember being like addicted to that sound. And then as I started like digging more, I just started finding all of that stuff. So I guess I kind of found it on my own.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. I was just curious because, you know, I got about 10 and a half years on you age wise. So, you know, I obviously found out about Pete Rock and CL Smooth, like, you know, from Reminisce and just actually like buying the cassette tape at Sam Goody at the time on Tuesdays when albums used to drop. So that's how I got into it. I had an older sister who, you know, was in the hip hop. So that's how I got my start. So you being 10 years younger, I'm just curious because it's dope. Like, obviously I love your sound selection. I love your ear. I mean, if I had to choose one genre of music, I'm going to go with what I grew up on. And that's, you know, 90s boom bap, hip hop, preferably East Coast. But obviously I love every coast, West Coast, down South. I love everything. I love all types of music. But I was just curious because I think it's an interesting take and kind of an interesting sound for a younger guy, which you're younger to me, obviously. So I was just curious where it came from.
You say that because now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like a lot of the video games I was playing as a kid put me on to, like, I remember hearing like Rakim on like this skating game I used to play. and always like trying to play that song over and over. I forget what the game was. It wasn't Tony Hawk. It was like an off-brand skating game. So probably video games too.
That's dope, man. No, that's really cool. So, okay, so we understand kind of where you came from and how you got your start. So, I guess how did you find out about BeatStars and kind of what made you go on the BeatStars? And then, when did you really start seeing success from it as well? Because I think a lot of people who, join BeatStars maybe haven't seen the success or they're working towards that success. Like, what do you think that was like that transition point was for you?
So I started just making beats and uploading them to YouTube, I guess like 2014, 2015. I don't know if any of those beats are still up. I probably deleted them, but, but I remember like trying to build my own website and like trying to sell stuff on there to like try to get free downloads. And it was super clunky and went through a few different options until, I finally landed on BeatStars. What do you say that was 2016?
Yeah, September 2016. I think the 27th to be exact. I did my research, man.
yeah. So 2016, I switched to BeatStars, and I just remember it being like a world of difference from like the other platforms that I was using. So
facts. That's facts.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that, man. No, listen, man. We've been a huge fan of yours since you joined us. Since I can remember, at least. I mean, I've been involved with BeatStars since probably 2012. Obviously, a lot more in depth over the last 3 years. But I mean, I remember coming across your stuff, playlisting your stuff, reposting it when I was, doing those things, and just being like, "Yo, this dude's dope, man." I thought you were an older dude. That's why I asked you about the age, because I thought you were like my age, like just the sound you have. But no, incredible, man. We're gonna play some of your tracks too. I got some of your top tracks like queued up that I pulled. But yeah, I mean, Payne. So we're gonna just shift kind of the same questions over to you, man. I'm sure a lot of people watching this might have heard Payne's story because he likes to tell his story a lot. But we're gonna tell this story again. Payne, man. So May 2014, we're gonna touch on the first couple of years you were messing around thing. But I mean, over the time, here we go again. 806 tracks, 2.8 million streams, 28.5 thousand followers. And went to your YouTube, of course, 98.3 thousand. So, I mean, like you guys are kind of in the same space to me. Time-wise, a little different. How you got involved, I think it's going to be completely different based on what Payne's going to tell us. But overall, I mean, it looks like consistency. It looks like time. It looks like great music. I mean, there's the three things that I just see over and over again. So, Payne, man, talk to us about, if you want to give us a brief background on kind of just how you even got your start in music. Have you ever really, explained that on live or anything? Like kind of like how you actually got involved with this craft and, you wanted to do it for a living?
Those are two very separate questions, because the first beat I made, I was 14. And it was just that I went to a school that was a technology magnet school, or was supposed to be. It kind of ended up being something else. Shout out to James C. Wright Middle School, Southside. But I went to that school and learned a lot about computers because that was their thing. It was the first time I ever saw anybody record MIDI. The computer teacher showed that to me. And I just wanted to make music. I've been just someone who listened to all types of music my whole life. Obviously, hip hop spoke to me because that was, the age I was in, the people I was around listening to it. And I decided to, when I was 14, I was at my friend's apartment. He had a keyboard that was not made for making beats at all. And I was like, okay, so at school we learned on our own. No one taught us this. Do you remember those Macs where if you would hit the volume button, a sound would come out? But
a duck, wasn't it a duck?
Yeah, I think so. It was some weird sound, and you could.
I got suspended for doing that, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, a lot of kids at my school did because they would change it. The funniest one was this girl, Kiana, did it. Like you would push the button and her voice would come on calling you a bitch. It was hilarious. So we figured that stuff out on our own, and so I knew you could record audio into a computer. So I'm at my friend's apartment. He has this keyboard. I was like, "Are there drum sounds on there?" He's like, "Yeah." So I listened to them. I thought it was amazing. They sounded terrible, because it's a keyboard for, it was a clavichord or a clavinova or something. One of those electric keyboards that for like recitals and stuff. So I had a DJ Muggs beat in my head. I'm like, let me try to make something similar to that. So with like one finger, I just tapped out some keys, and then I added drums on top of it, and we recorded it into his computer, and that was the beginning of
DJ Payne 1 era started.
Yeah, so that's how I started, and I just kind of tried to figure out how to expand on that one little 2-bar loop experience that I had, and I just tried everything, 12-track recorders, 4-track recorders, hardware that I couldn't afford, because I was 14, computer programs, all that. I think eventually I had Cool Edit. That was the single track wave editor, and I was trying to make beats that way just by. I think this is the reason I have All Right Rhythm, is that I was programming drum loops without a grid. I was just doing it by eyeballing it, which was it's a terrible experience. It takes you like 50 minutes just to come up with a single measure loop, because you're manually inserting silence and hoping that it works out. But yeah, that's how I started. I never intended on making that a career though.
Okay. When did we meet, man? 2010?
I think it was more like 2009.
Okay.
Because
I think you're right.
Came out with Hatch, and I remember that night. It was at this venue that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah,
I remember it too. It was a great night. Yeah, so if people don't know, so me and Payne actually, I don't know if you hit me up or if it was Shaw who hit me up.
You hit me up, and I got really nervous. So you hit me up, right? There was this big head cocky dude in my city, right? That looks like my older brother. But we weren't really friends at the time, but he was just really energized, and he was trying to take over the game, and he thought he was Scarface, and he was trying to take over the city, but on a musical level, not on a drug level. And so he saw that I was doing a lot of stuff, and he was just always like, man, I'm gonna take over. I need the power. I gotta work. I gotta make it happen. I'm like, oh God, this guy. So he, and that's my brother. I love him, but he was always trying to, have a hand in everything. And you randomly email me, and you're like, hey man, yeah, I see you got some stuff going on in Madison. We have this traveling showcase with some industry panelists and some great prizes. We want to bring it to your city. I'm like, there's no way I'm doing that. That's too much of a responsibility. I'm not booking a venue. I'm not handling the marketing and the ticket sales and all that. No way. But I'm like, wait a minute. There's this guy over here that's all, I'm ready to do whatever. I'm taking over the city. I'm like, oh, perfect. If he really wants to take over the city like that, let me connect him with Mike and see what happens. So that was a beautiful night because one, we met, and then that began our, really long-term working relationship. And it also started my relationship / friendship with Shah, who's the guy I've been imitating the whole time. He actually pulled off the venue. It was a great night. It was packed. It was a successful event, and it just brought everybody closer because the foundation of all of our friendship was making something happen that we said was going to happen. So it was just like integrity and that level of trust that you don't get from just talking with someone. We actually did something that we all worked on together, so it was cool.
Yeah, the reason I kind of ask these specific questions for you to tell that story is not that just so we can reminisce and be like, oh man, we're old. But
I'm not old.
It's speak for yourself, but it just shows you the power of relationships in not only this music industry, but in just life in general. And, when I approached Payne back in 2009-ish, 10, it was with an opportunity and some type of value that we could offer. Madison, Wisconsin's not known as being a big, music town or for hip hop specifically. But what I saw was opportunity, because what I saw was a town that had like 10 colleges in a 5-mile radius. And I saw a bunch of people who don't get opportunities. So not just me, the guy I was doing the show with, Jay Hatch. And, we decided that we wanted to do different cities like that. And I think you can kind of, what you can take from that is, as a producer, it's not always kind of like the big flashing lights, meaning the big flashing artist or, you know, specific things of that nature that you always have to look at. There's opportunities everywhere and there's talent everywhere. So I think the internet, and specifically BeatStars, gives you, you know, a really dope chance to, you know, build with people and build long-term relationships. But, you know, to sum that whole story up, basically we did these events. Me and Payne became friends, not only just, you know, business colleagues. We've been friends over all these years. And yeah, so I guess fast forward to 2014, just so the story doesn't last 3 hours. What happened then, man? Because I know in 2009 I wasn't aware of BeatStars. And then it kind of came around like 2011, 2012. And then I really started, you know, working with Abe closely after that. And then I guess at some point in 2014, I guess I was like, yo, DJ Payne One, you need to sign up for BeatStars. And that's how you got on, is what I'm assuming. That's what I can remember.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah, it was you trying to convince me to come on, me dragging my feet, just, you know, being stupid and not really understanding the beat leasing model, which is something that had been around forever. Like when I think back on how dumb I was, you know, everybody around me was using Superstar O, Vibe, Johnny Giuliano beats. And even before that, during the mp3.com era, everyone was using Soul Eternity beats. So I knew that these guys were making a lot of moves. I just didn't connect it in my head because I had this ridiculous industry fantasy where, you know, I was going to jump in the industry and make $10 million off a publishing deal. And so I dragged my feet, and I regret that, because had I started in 2014, I mean, I signed up for BeatStars in 2014, but I think I uploaded 10 beats and just let them sit. And I'm like, man, I'm only selling like 1 or 2 a month. What's going on? And then eventually, I don't know if Abe just took it upon himself to start trying to beat some sense into me, but you know, you'd periodically call me like, we got to talk about this, man. You really could be doing a lot. The biggest push for me was when Abe asked, because I was always doing the YouTube interviews and stuff for the producer community, and so Abe said, oh, he'd be a good moderator for our A3C panel in Atlanta. So he said, okay, cool, I'm gonna fly you out to Atlanta, you're gonna moderate all the panels. That's when I actually met the guys doing it. That's when my friendship with Dream Life started. To me, Dream Life is like a Mike Trampy, in the sense that that's one of those music business friendships that is just, it's changed my life. So I met Dream Life, I met the Crates, I met Beat Demons. These are DG. These are all people that I talk to this day. I think I met Cash Money AP that same event as well. And just having conversations with them, seeing them work, getting actual insight from them, because these are some of the most forthcoming people and some of the most accepting producers who are willing to share resources, who are willing to be upfront about everything. It was just such a refreshing change for me, because a lot of people are hiding opportunities, a lot of producers in the industry, and I understand, because it's scarce when you're working with the majors and stuff. I think that's changing. I think there's more collaboration nowadays, but at that time, not so much. It's like you were either in or you weren't, and I was not in on the BeatStars producer community. But what happened? Oh, Dream Life, yeah, let's collab. Beat Demons, yeah, let's collab. The Crates, yeah, let's collab. Okay, cool. Thank you guys, appreciate it. And I learned from them, and I learned from seeing what they were doing and seeing their successes and seeing their work ethic. And then also hearing you and Abe constantly tell me, you could be doing this, you could be making this, you could be stepping it up. And I don't know, I was late to the party, but I eventually showed up, and yeah, it changed everything for me.
Dude, crazy story. Thank you for sharing with us. And you know, it's just crazy how things like work, and like when you take chances and when you actually like really invest the time into doing something. Because I can take from like what you said of, you know, different things kind of change your perspectives and kind of actually change your life. But like those changes not only helped you and affected you, I feel like they've helped and affected a lot of people, because all these people now that are in tune with your brand, whether it's buying your beats or listening to your free shows, the MEC show, or just your YouTube channel, or your Twitter rants, which are hilarious but educational at the same time. I think the moral of that whole story of like just how everything came together, man, is just value like the people you work with, treat them fairly, be respectful, all for value. I say it all the time. It's not always about you. I think there's ways of building with people. So it's only gotten easier. So you got to remember, like, social media, BeatStars, when we met, was out there, but it wasn't as big as it is now. And it's only going to keep growing and making stuff easier for people to interact and collaborate and share information and share whatever it is. So two amazing stories. Thank you guys for sharing them with us. It's super dope. So Homage, man, like, what do you think the biggest, if you're a new producer, right, you're just coming into the industry right now, or not even industry, into like the online beat selling game, and I don't even think we should be looking at it as the online beat selling game. I think you should look at it as your business, you're an entrepreneur, how you packaging up your sound, your branding, your vibe, whatever it is, and getting it out there. Like, what do you think is the single most important thing that like somebody new or somebody who just recently started should be doing? I know it's a hard question, but a lot has changed. But I mean, like, is it making a YouTube channel and driving traffic? Is it, uploading to, SoundCloud and other places to drive traffic? Is it paid advertising? Like, what do you think is the best way? And is it just a consistency thing, and just getting better with time? I mean, if you could sum it up.
No, that's a good question. I'm trying to break it down and think of like one thing that would, like, if you do this, everything else will kind of take care of itself. But when I think about that, assuming the person is like newer, I would just encourage them to like be true to themselves, and use that, use that energy and like passion for music to impact every other lane. So like a perfect example would be like when I started, I remember uploading beats on YouTube in like 2015, and they were like boom bap old school stuff. And I remember people would comment and be like, yeah, this is cool, but like this sounds like 1995. So like nobody's ever going to want to rap on this. Nobody's going to ever buy this beat from you. And I like, at first I was like, oh, maybe they're right. Maybe I have to like try this. Maybe I have to try that. Cause going back, like at that time, Superstar O and Vibe and Johnny Giuliano, like that was who was killing it in the game. And so, there was like a big chunk of a year where I think I probably stunted my growth because I was trying to do all these different things. Like I was trying to like, oh, well, they're successful doing that thing, so maybe I should try that. But when I look back on it, I was really kind of just like jumping from thing to thing. And then eventually I kind of just had this moment where I was like, you know what? No, I'm just going to figure out what I like most and try to perfect that area. And then eventually, once I get really good at that, expand into other things. And so for me, that looked like, okay, I'm going to focus on boom bap beats. And then eventually, once I get really good at that, I can, expand into other areas. But really that came from me, like just loving that sound and loving, like that was what was most fun to me. And I was most interested in that. And so I think I was able to give more time and like really just like get addicted and like spend ridiculous hours like trying to figure out how to get better at that specific sound because I loved it so much. And I think that a lot of new people, maybe they're just, oh, this person's doing that, I'll try that. And then they try it, and then it's not actually true to like who they are or what they actually really want to do in the long term.
Yep.
And then when they're not successful, they jump on the next thing. And that's not knocking like any genre by any means, but as long as like you're genuinely interested in it yourself, like that's the number one thing that will take you to the next level in all of the other areas that it takes to be a successful like online business, really, in general. So
facts. No, dude, great feedback, man. I couldn't agree more. I think I think it's easier, or not easier. It's easy to, look at trends and look at some things of, how music's moving and what's popular and be like, oh, I need to do those things. But, after talking to countless amounts of producers, especially on this show and just in general, is I find that everybody that's been super successful for the most part, I'd say it's like an 85 to 90% rate is, they all just did what they loved. They hyper focused on whether it was a certain genre or mood, and they really just kind of perfected their craft. And it seems that they're happier. They're finding more success that way. I'm not saying everybody should go do that, but it's something to take a look at, because you can always, like you said, expand out, once you kind of got your sound down and you kind of have your business down, then you can take a little bit more risks and different things, or try different sounds and stuff like that. But I mean, if you're a fan and love boom bap like you are, like you're saying, and that's what you like to make, like, it would make not a lot of sense to kind of alternate to do some other genre just to do it because that's what's trending right now. So I think a lot of people do get caught up in that. Payne, I know you had this issue too. Your sound is super diverse, don't get me wrong, but I think what you really excel at personally, and I think a lot of people agree with it, is, that Rick Ross sounding, like, you just got those dope drums, and they just got, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but you have a sound for sure. You obviously can make a lot of other dope stuff. But how long did it take you to figure that out? Like, is that something that you realized after a year, 2 years, 3 years? I mean, kind of how did you figure that part out?
I went through the same thing that Homage went through. And this goes back to relationships. It was Dream Life who had that reality check moment with me, where he told me that I needed to just focus on the core sound. And I had to ask, what is my core sound? And really, it was staring me in the face, because if you look at my resume at all, you'll see that, my most popular, big placement records have all had a very similar sound. Starting at Jeezy Don't Do It and moving on to like Ludacris Money, a lot of these records just had this feel that wasn't necessarily tied into an era, that just kind of felt timeless but also classic at the same time. And that's why I feel there, a rapper like Rick Ross has such an amazing ability to select beats, because a lot of the beats that he has used for his albums have a timeless sound, where 10 years from now they're not going to feel tied into a specific era. And a lot of music doesn't age well, or at very least it ages in a way that betrays the time that it was released. We can listen to a record and say, oh, that sounds like early 2000s. We can listen to a record and say that definitely sounds like 80s. With certain styles of beats, we can't really say that. And there's nothing wrong with making something current if that's what you love, but as Homage was saying, it's not sustainable to force yourself to make something that you're not fully committed to. It's just not. You're not going to want to do that day after day. This is the kind of setup that causes people to take long breaks or quit or give up or whatever, because they're not motivated to make that music. And I think a huge error that I see so many producers make is believing this narrative that you have to make. It was funny. I tweeted the other day. Some producers really think rappers only want trap beats, and I got a backlash. I get backlashes for the most innocent truisms that I will post. I could post right now, "Puppies are cute," and someone would have an issue with it. But I posted that yes, some producers think rappers just want trap beats, and the response I got was, "Yeah, they do. You're stupid. People want what's trendy. You make that old sounding stuff and no one's going to buy it. You want to be broke the rest of your life." I'm like, I'm making a living making music that's not trap. So it's just
Payne. The people, hold on. The people who say that and think that, man, are the same people who have been brainwashed into thinking that the only way you can be successful in the music industry is to get signed and to blow up. And that's way far from the truth, but continues your story.
Well, there are just a million narratives out there that all you have to do to see past is to just look at the people actually living it. There are a lot of, look at Homage. He's not making trap beats, so there goes that narrative. Look at Snow the product, she's not signed to a major and she's doing just fine. There goes
Shout,
that narrative.
shout out to Snow.
Yeah. Shout out to Snow. I wish she would.
I'm talking to her right now in text. That's why I said shout out to Snow.
Oh, tell her DJ Payne 1, a
No.
producer she worked with in a former life, says hi. I really love her music. Yeah,
Facts.
just don't believe these any narrative that restricts and limits you is probably one worth challenging. If the narrative is you have to get signed to be successful, that's a limiting narrative. Challenge it. At very least, look around to see if that's true. See for yourself. If you're making beats that have a certain sound and some asshole tells you, no, you'll never sell those.
Yeah.
Challenge that narrative.
Yeah, listen, I know me and Dame actually debated this or discussed it, whatever you want to call it, on a past MEC show that I'm sure you can find if you look it up. But I said there's a fan base out there for everybody, and he argued that there wasn't, but I wasn't clear on why I said that. When I said that, obviously you have to be talented in some sort of fashion and have quality content. I mean, we have seen horrible content do well in more of like meme style sharing, but overall, like if you have good content and then there's great content, then there's just amazing content. Like, but even with good content, there's still a fan base out there. Like you can reach them easily. So I just feel like this whole fitting in, doing what they think people are looking for and not staying true to who they are is, again, it's just a brainwash mentality. And it goes back to what I was saying was there's literally people out there that don't even know that you can build, a solid fan base, have no hits and probably making 100K a year or more. I see it day in and day out. And that's something, I've always been an advocate of talking about, because I just feel like direct to consumer, direct to fan is the best way to go. You control all your music. You control, not saying that like there aren't deals out there that you can be involved with that are beneficial, but I'm just saying overall, I think, being able to release your own music and from a producer's perspective, obviously, you're controlling what you're uploading, what you can release, who you're working with, how your pricing is. Dude, you're running your own business. And I mean, who doesn't want to do that? Yeah, it's stressful. Yeah, the hours are long. But at the end of the day, you have kind of full control over it. So I just say make what you want to make and stay true to the sound that you want to do. And there's a fan base out there for it. I promise you, if you do the research and understand how to reach them, and we talk about it all the time, it's totally doable. So I'm more just trying to motivate people. So, yeah, guys, let's play some tracks. Let's play some tracks from you guys. I know I saw somebody asking about touching on publishing splits, but I don't know if we're going to get into that type of stuff. This isn't really like a Q&A about, specific things of that nature. I know we've had attorneys on in the past, guys. So like definitely look that up on our channel where we talk about this stuff.
BeatStars.world.
Yep.
At the last two BeatStars summits, we had Carl Folks, who's an entertainment attorney that represents producers. We talk about publishing splits, and actually on the most recent summit, that happens to me all the time with my cat. On the most recent summit, we had Will from Sony ATV Publishing. I mean, that's what he does. He's a publisher. So that's one to look up. It's all archived. It's all there on www.beatstars.world. So check that out.
Word. Appreciate it. Okay. All right, let's share a screen. I got Homage's stuff pulled up first. So let me just pull his stuff up. Guys, save your questions too. We'll take about 10 minutes at the end to answer some questions. My dog definitely just opened my door. Let me close it again.
My cat does that all the time to me on live.
The Pug Life crew is acting reckless. I apologize. All right. Can you guys see my screen? Yes?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure you guys are there. All right, so I pulled up your tracks, top selling. City Angels was a highlighted track. I can play that first if you want. I'll probably play like two or three of these. I'll just go this starred one, then 1, 2. So yeah, as you can see, this is filtered. This is all front-facing stuff you can see on the BeatStars Marketplace. I just want the Homage's page. Okay. And then I just want the tracks, and then I just sorted. You can sort by most played, top selling. I sorted by top selling. So this is how you can see this information. When I'm pulling this stuff up, on the show, it's based off just, stuff that everybody can see. I don't have some, secret information that I'm looking at. But yeah, let's check it out. So your first track, man, City Angels, 17.9 thousand plays. Let's check out when you drop this. March 22nd of this year. So, talking what, 6, 7, 8 months old. As you can see, the interaction is huge. 43 reposts, 508 likes, 18 comments, about 18,000 plays. It's a Kendrick. Who else you got on here? Okay. Cool. So yeah, let's check this out. If you guys can just mute yourself, what I'll do is I'll play City of Angels first. And then I'll go right into the second one, and then probably right into the third one. Just let's see what else we got. Storytelling, chill, Kanye. So we got some Kendrick storytelling, chill, Kendrick vibes coming up. Enjoy. We'll listen to about a minute of each. Let's get it.
Homage got the vibe. Homage got the vibe.
This is a Homage beat.
Crazy, man. Yo, that last beat was from 2017, October. So we're talking about like 3-year-old beats, one of your top selling beats. I love it. Crazy stuff, man. The City of Angels track is one of my favorites you've done for sure. That just like so many vibes on that, man. Have you had anybody do anything with that beat, like specifically that that stuck out? I could hear it in like a movie or like something too, not only with an artist, but like I could hear it like just as some like background music too. It's fire, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Definitely one of my favorites, which is why I pinned it. Yo, make sure you use that pin feature.
Use that pin feature.
But yeah, appreciate it, man. Nothing that I've heard that like really grabbed me yet. But I mean, that other beat is like 3 years old, so time will tell.
It's crazy, man. How much you cooking up? You cooking up every day? And what's your upload schedule like right now? Like, are you like, because I know, dude, you went hard. What was it? 726 tracks, 767. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, like, are you still uploading? Like, I mean, you had to have been uploading daily at some point, or at least every other day to get to that number, or unless you just bulk uploaded a ton at once.
No. So in 2016, 2017, and 2018, I think I uploaded every single day, or like really close to every single day, because I knew that like that's what was like a lot of the big YouTubers that were doing. Like Casey Neistat was vlogging every day, and I was like, yo, if Casey's vlogging every day, I could do beats every day on YouTube. And so I sense like I don't upload every day anymore, but I try to do like 4 to 5 beats per week still pretty consistently. So
fire, man. That's crazy. Inspiration, guys. Like, come on, this guy's been on the platform, for 4 years. He's got almost 800 tracks up, and he's still uploading 4 to 5 times. I don't want to hear no excuses. No excuses. I'm not taking them anymore. So, dude, listen, man. Awesome stuff. Love your channel. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm always checking out your stuff, and really appreciate you coming on today too.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Hell yeah, man. Payne, man. Let's get into what you're working with here, man. So, what do you want to start with? Do you want to start with your pin joint, or you want to go right into Aspire?
We can go right into Aspire because that's like my first viral beat.
Okay. Cool. We'll listen to like we'll listen to like 3 of these.
And I got to shout out to the co-producers on that because I played the keys on that, and then I sent them to Dream Life, who sent them to Dirt Boy. So it was a group effort, and that just kind of goes to show you, biggest beat. It's at a million. It's about to hit 1 million on YouTube, and so that was kind of an amazing thing to witness.
Hell yeah, let's do it. All right, cool. Let's check this out.
Yo, this is J. Cole. What up? With DJ Payne 1. Yo, this is J. Cole. What up? With DJ Payne 1. Yo, this is J. Cole. What up? With DJ Payne 1.
DJ Payne 1.
I ain't been doing nothing but drinking and thinking, yeah. Oh, since you've been away.
DJ Payne 1.
Oh, come on.
DJ Pain 1. DJ Pain 1.
Ain't shit changed but the look. Catch him out of bounds, we gon' shoot. I had to let it be known, I'm the truth. These niggas lying in the booth. I say all these niggas frying in the booth. I say I heard they know I'm the truth. I heard they know I'm the truth. I heard they know I'm the truth.
Yeah, man, crazy stuff. You guys both you guys obviously are super talented, man. And I think again, when we do this show, I think every week we figure out that you got to have amazing content. I think that's the main thing people should be really looking at, how to perfect their content, figure out what they love to make, and kind of, how to perfect that craft. And listen, when we say perfect the craft, I don't think anyone's ever going to be perfect. I think you're always going to be able to get better, but you're just striving to have the most crisp sounding, music that you're making and putting out. I mean, I think focus on that first. And then obviously, as you can see, it takes consistency. I mean, they're both setting 800 tracks, 10 years combined. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. Usually it can, but usually it doesn't. So building your business, building your brand, it takes time. But I think overall content is key. Content is king. I say it all the time. Secondly, consistency it will make you or break you. And then, third is just patience, man. It's a lot of patience and a lot of ups and downs. But that's my best advice, guys. I appreciate you guys coming on here today. We got a couple more minutes, like 6-7 minutes. I want to take some questions from the chat. See if anybody's got any questions like regarding, how you guys got the 1 million streams. And it's not just about getting the 1 million streams. It just is a cool name for the show and a way to have certain people on. But I mean, it's not just about that. It's I think we get bogged down with numbers way too much and not about the human connection. And I think you guys have proven that. Yeah, numbers are great, but you've built relationships, whether it's, like me and Payne over, 11 years, or it's with somebody you maybe have never seen before, but you've talked to them back and forth in email who bought multiple beats from you and you're trying to take care of them as a customer. I think it's fair to say that, all of us kind of, have done that to build these business. So guys, anything else you guys want to chime in on or, feedback on anything I've said? Guys are Payne, you're muted.
So I'm scanning the chat for questions.
Cool. How much, man? What do you think? I mean, have you done a lot of interviews like this, or is this kind of like first time? Yeah, stepping out. That's what I mean. Dude, that's the most beautiful thing I love about this show, man, is because I swear I think half the guests have never done anything like this, and it's so cool to see you guys come out. And you've always been super respectful and responsive, in emails that I've talked to a lot of you on. But it's super cool that you guys come out here, and I think you do it because one, you love music. Two, I think you guys love BeatStars, and then three, you love the community and you want to give back and let people know kind of what you've done to get there. So. I appreciate you doing it, man, because it says a lot that you've never really done this type of stuff, and you chose to do it here. So thank you. We greatly appreciate it, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm glad to share my story and also talk with you, Pain One, because even when I started, you were one of the OGs. I remember before I was even putting beats on YouTube, I remember there was a series of videos of yours that I watched. Talking about sampling, and that was super helpful for me and kind of gave me the confidence to move forward and all right, it's I can sample, and I've sent so many people to that video before too, because there's so much misinformation out there. But
thank you.
Yeah, man. I did want to mention one thing. You guys were kind of talking on it earlier. But I think something that maybe like the newer people could really latch onto is the idea. I forget the guy's name, but there's this idea of like 1,000 true fans. There's an article online. You know about that?
Yeah, I haven't seen this article or know who you're talking about specifically, but this is actually something that I talk about and have for years about 1,000 fans. I'll have to give you my point of view, and you can tell me if it's on point with this dude's. But basically, my point is, think about 1,000 fans and getting them to spend $100 a year, and that's $100K minus, obviously taxes, expenses, and stuff. So let's just say 70 grand to be fair. It's totally doable, man. And even if you want to scale it down, because I don't even think you should start at that. I think 1,000 is even being very aggressive, and I think that even can be negative in a sense because it's going to seem so far to achieve. You need to start with 100, start with 50, and you build and build and build. And not to cut you off, but I saw somebody in the question that says, "I'm just getting started out. How long does it take for me to start trending on BeatStars?" That's the wrong perspective to have, in my opinion. The perspective to have is, how can I put out the best incredible content, and how can I reach the people who are most likely to like it? And once you figure that out, and then you can maneuver ways to do it, whether it's with paid advertising, social media marketing, and all these different things that you as business owners need to learn first, so you have a grasp on what's going on. But yes, please feel free to chime in more on the 1,000 fans. But I'm with you. I think it's a great way to look at things.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you take, I don't know I think the average income, like for household or something, is like between 40 and 60,000 in the United States of America. So yeah, even if you scale that down, I mean, we're talking about, 500 people, in a year. If you could find 500 people that'll spend, $100, which is what, like an unlimited lease, for one song. You can make a decent income. So I think a lot of times people try to go viral, or they try to look at the numbers, and like, obviously, like, it's super dope that that I have over 1 million and that we have this platform. But like, there's people on here that have way less and that are making really solid, livable income, or at least able to like live the dream of, being a full-time producer, full-time musician. Maybe they're only making 40,000, but like, that's super dope that BeatStars is able to provide that, for people. So it's not always about numbers, kind of like you were saying, but serve your people, man. Serve your people.
There's an audience out there for everybody. Like I said, man, if you have the music, so that's why focusing on the content first is very key, and making sure it's good enough and people are gonna want to engage with it and then eventually purchase it. I mean, it's a process, man. It's definitely a funnel of getting it out to people and then getting feedback from people, then improving and then remarketing and like there's a ton that goes into it, but it's all doable. We got like 1 minute because I know we got another show coming up, so I don't want to be on here when I'm getting kicked off by the other host. But Payne, man, say what you got to say, bro, and then let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so the full episode is coming out on Monday. It's the Music Entrepreneur Club podcast powered by BeatStars. We had Curtis King on. It's not released yet. We recorded it, but Curtis King said, instead of asking how to build a fan base, what you need to do is conceptualize that as investing in a fan base. And I really liked him saying that, because a lot of producers ask the question of, how do I get to this point? How do I make this amount of money? How do I get this amount of followers? And like you said, Mike, that's the wrong question. And are you willing to invest in these people that become your fans, or who already are your supporters? How do you do that? Is it by giving them value every single day? Is it by being consistent? Is it by interacting with all of them? Is it by giving them deals? Is it by giving them something that they can't get from any other producer online? Is it all of the above? Those are the questions to ask. I just wanted to add that.
No, beautiful, man. I appreciate it, guys. Like I said, thank you so much for being on. You guys can always come back and watch the show on Twitch. I don't know about YouTube, but mainly just Twitch. Come back to Twitch. Sign up if you're not on Twitch. It's a dope platform. But you can watch every episode. I've done 4 of these episodes, the 1 million streams. So definitely go back and check all the people we had on. A lot of dope information. We actually had Othello on back in June, and we talked about 2020 visions. And I hyped that beat up, man, just like I was hyping these beats up. And then Meek Mill got on it the other day. It's crazy. So we're making history on this show, guys. guys. I appreciate you again. Homage, man. Dude, stay in touch, man. Anything you need, reach out. Payne, you already know what the deal is. Everybody watching, especially Bufo in the chat. That's my guy. Pleasure seeing everybody, and thank you. Next show coming up is Rise to the Challenge, I believe. So enjoy, and we'll see everybody soon. All right. Peace.